But I want...
Just a moment, Priyanka. I'm sorry. I've just started the recording. Thank you. Please continue.
Okay. So what my take, why I joined this session is like, I'm after marriage only I become a mother. So for me, a transition is quite happening very frequently, because before marriage, I live in a normal independent life and everything. So for me, the transition part, so sometimes it quite heavy or quite overwhelming for me. So that is what I like. I just understand how I can go ahead with my this life, and how can I bring a good environment for my kid, so that she grow in a better way. So that is my look at for from this session. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for showing up for your child. Thank you for taking this step. Thank you. Yes. Who's next? Devesh?
Hello.
Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
I am good. So I am Devish Golcha. Well, I own a business. I am particularly into making flour, आटा मैदा जो आप लोग सब खाते हैं तो वही. I have been taking sessions from Gududi Shruti Tibrewal. So I have seen a lot of progress in myself, and it has also aroused some kind of curiosity to how far and how better I can be. So right now I am in a ground where I want to look at everything neutrally and take in as much knowledge as I can. So that is why I'm here.
Thank you, Devesh. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Who is next? It's okay. We don't need to hide. Anyone? You can, it's okay. Yeah. Please turn off your mic, guys. Please turn off your mic. No problem. It's okay. So before starting the class, I just want to make few things clear. So first of all, as I mentioned, although we are all connected by this internet, this technology, but I want you all to know that this is a safe space in itself. So I request all of you to hold space for all of us, each other, and there could be a few things that you figure out in today's class that could be maybe triggering to you, or you might not agree to it. So I just want to request you to listen to this with an open mind. I am not here to give you advice on parenting. No, I just want to provide you with a lens of how a child develops into an adult, and how does the energy, the physiology of the child develops and grows, and what kind of impact it holds. So I will simply share the impact of things that is observed by scientists, psychologists, me in my personal practice. And it would be simply from sharing the awareness. It is not about right or wrong, good or bad, no judgments, no debate. Simply requesting all of you to kindly keep your mic off at all times. You can turn your video on. It would really, really help us connect and be more present in the class. So, but please keep your mic off. Yes. So without further ado, let me start the class. So my screen is visible. Can any one of you confirm it's visible?
Yes.
Thank you. Great. So first of all, I want to ask you all one simple question. How many of you understand the topic? Understanding the energy of your child. So first buzzword is energy. What do you mean by energy? So let's look at that. I'll start from the very basic. So this is what today we are going to cover. We are going to talk about energy. We are going to understand about child and childhood. We will understand about the types of memory, a conscious memory and subconscious memory that every human being has. And we are going to talk about attachment and authenticity. What is attachment? What is authenticity? I will cover that later in class. So these are the four major topics that we are going to cover in today's class. Starting with what is energy? So this is the most common definition that I could find, and it is ironical, to be very honest, because when we look at children and when we talk about their energy, or when we look at human beings and we talk about energy, energy is not just the ability to do work. The common science definition, the physics definition of energy known to a layman is ability to do work. To find out the productivity, efficiency of something, we measure it. It's a qualitative thing. Energy is the ability to do work. And sadly, this is the lens that we have developed when we look at our children growing up as well. Whether they are productive or not, how many classes they are going to, whether they are coming first in class, how much money will they earn in future, what work they will be able to do. But when you think about it, when you decided to, bring a life into this world, to bring a child into this world, this was not the purpose behind it, right? You loved someone and you brought another life into this world. This could not be just for work, right? But unfortunately, that is the only lens that we have. Even for our own children, the most, all our insecurities we project on our children, that you have, everybody needs to come first in class. Everybody is measured by what he is good at. Everybody needs to be extraordinary. Average or just simply good doesn't exist. So, so what is energy? So I want you all to do this one simple exercise right now. So everybody just simply sit straight with your spine erect and press with your thumb on the center of your palm. Just simply press it, as like, just press it hardly on both sides. On the center of your palm, simply press it. And after that, just try to bring your hands close and move them apart. And try to see, are you feeling something? Do you feel like a magnetic pull, like an energetic pull?
Yes.
Anyone else? Just tell me. Just try to press the center of your hands and simply move your hand. Bring it closer, but don't touch it, and again move it behind. And just see, do you feel any vibration? Do you feel a pull, an energy? You can unmute and say if any of you feel, or you can use the chat box.
Yeah, it is little warm when we close our hand.
So what is this? So the school of thought that we come from is, we just don't have a physical body that we can see. There is also an energetic body that is there within us. It is like the software that is running this hardware. Like, we only see the hardware. When you're using this computer or this mobile, you are only seeing the hardware part of it. But there is a very powerful software which is the basis of your entire phone or your computer, which is powering the entire thing. Be it Instagram, be it Zoom, be it WhatsApp, everything is a software. We are simply seeing the interface and using it. But there are very powerful programs and algorithms that are functioning this. Similarly, human beings, we are no different. We also have this software which is governing this hardware, this human body. There is an intelligence that is there, that is taking care of itself. You are breathing all the time. You don't even have to do anything. Your heart is beating all the time. It's happening automatically. It is such an intelligent system. You eat something, it automatically digests itself. No matter what crap you eat, it still digests itself. So this there is a life force inside. Like when somebody passes away in our family, let's say, or anybody, almost all of you have seen someone's death, right? And when somebody has passed away, why, if that person is merely that body, why do we even go to the funeral or burial ceremony? Let's say an uncle has passed away. Just after the death, we stop calling them uncle and we refer to it as body, as if the uncle has left. There is only the body left now. Why is that? Because uncle is not the body. He was the spirit or the soul or the life force or the atma or the atman or the chi. You can call it by any name, whatever you want to. But the simple matter of fact is there is something more than what meets our eye and our sensory system that is there inherent in all human beings, and that is governing us. So that is the energy I am here to talk about today. I am not here to talk about how to make your child more productive, how to get him the best job. Sorry, that is not the place. I am here to talk about this energy and how to understand and make yourself aware about this energy of the child. So moving on. So why so much focus on child and childhood? Like everybody you see around these days, everybody is like childhood is very important. You take care of your child, because the blueprint of the child, the blueprint of any adult or any individual, the developmental blueprint, the foundation stones are laid in childhood. The entire nervous system and the brain is developed in 0 to 15 years of age. All of the belief systems that will govern his entire life until the day he dies will be governed in his childhood, will be formed in his childhood. All of these experiences that he goes through, all of the connection and safety that he feels in his home with his parents will determine what kind of individual and what kind of adult he would grow up to be. It won't matter if he goes to 4 extracurricular classes or 2 extracurricular classes or take 3 tuitions or take English class or drama class. It doesn't matter. Does your child feel safe with you? Does your child feel safe to be emotionally vulnerable with you? Do you feel safe around your child? Do you feel safe to be emotionally vulnerable around your child? Does your child trust you? These are simply the questions that we need to ask ourselves, because we need to ask ourselves the right questions, because there is no right answer to a wrong question, and we keep asking ourselves the wrong questions and hence the wrong answers, and we are stuck in this pattern. So it is very important to ask the right questions. So in the 0 to 10 or 0 to 15 years of age, the major development of the child, the brain, the nervous system is developed through the regulation with the heart field of the mother and the nervous system of the father. So the child's nervous system, it doesn't develop out of anywhere. Whatever is going around him, the child simply absorbs like a foam. And all of this information is passed on to his nervous system, which tells him how to develop. All of this information is stored in the amygdala of child's brain, which is the sense of safety. It's the threat center of the brain. It helps an individual retain its safety. It scans the environment for cues of danger and cues of safety. Amygdala. So all of this is influenced by the kind of environment the child is exposed to, and not just the external environment, the inner environment of the parent. What is the mother feeling right now when she is giving the child the birth? What is the mother feeling as the child is growing up? Is the mother preoccupied? Is the father available? All of these factors determine what kind of individual the child grows up to be. So, I want to ask you one simple question. How are you guys feeling right now in this moment? How are you feeling right now? Just type in the chat box. Are you feeling any pain right now in this moment? Are you feeling any pain in this moment? How are you feeling? Are you feeling any pain, any discomfort in this very moment? So I can see a lot of no's coming in. And why is that? So, what we suffer is not pain, but the memory of pain. The, the fight that I had with my husband or wife 2 hours ago, 2 months ago, the issue with my parent 5 years ago, 20 years ago, all of this is simply memory. In this current moment, there is no issue. The issue is we human beings have an extremely good memory, surprisingly good memory. Even the dumbest of kid in your class has the brightest of memory. Whether he remembers it or not doesn't matter. But everybody is blessed with a brilliant memory. Whether it's conscious or not, that's secondary. And the side effect of that memory is we cling on to those painful experiences, those traumatic experiences more. Why? Again, because that part of the brain, amygdala, it is responsible to keep us safe. So we tend to remember negative experiences more so that we are safe. It is able to protect us. Let's say an angry father is walking in. The child simply shrinks his body. Autonomic nervous system kicks in. It tells this child whether to fight or to flight or to simply freeze. Only three responses possible in the nervous system: whether to fight, whether to flight, or to freeze. Simply go inside the body and become numb. Whether you remember it or not. You find people say so often, forget it. It so bad happened, bhul jao. Forget it. Let me tell you, guys and girls, scientifically it is not possible for you to forget anything. Newsflash, it is impossible to forget anything. You remember everything. I can hypnotize you right now and you would speak what you experienced in your mother's womb. And I'm not kidding. I have been through that experience and I have taken many of my clients through that experience. People even go back to various lifetimes. They have memory of lifetimes until evolution, like until the beginning of the life. So all of this is stored in our bodies, not just in our minds, but in our bodies, in each cell of our bodies. Like a lot of you might see that this hand gesture of yours replicate your grandfather, or this nose of yours replicate your great grandfather. How is that? It's simply the memory. It's simply the memory that is being passed on, and it's a cellular memory. So it is spread all across the body. So memory is not just in the head or in the mind. It's all in the body. It's spread in all the cells. And we have more than 60 trillion cells in our bodies. And all of this carries memory. And hence, the memory of pain becomes so important because our brain, our amygdala requires us to keep safe. So it scans the environment for cues of danger. And anything that remotely replicates what happened to us 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, it simply connects the dot like a Google search. It simply matches. Even if you type any keyword and whatever is there in the entire internet repository, it simply matches. Just like that, whenever you feel unsafe today, it doesn't matter if you are 40-year-old, 30-year-old, 50-year-old, it is actually not because of today that you are feeling unsafe. This experience is reminding your body of something that happened in your childhood. The base of it is prepared in childhood. Whatever affects you right now, it is affecting you right now as an adult because something happened in childhood which was unprocessed and simply asked to shut down. My parents simply gave me this message that it doesn't matter what you are feeling, you need to do your homework right now. It doesn't matter, you have your exam, you have to study right now. And it is very logical. It is very logical. But the biology doesn't understand logic. It works, it has its own logic. So whether, please mute your mic. Please, sincere request, please mute your mic. So this biology of ours has its own vocabulary, has its own logic.
Sir, I
Right?
think some people might not know how to mute that. I think some elderly.
Thank you, thank you. I understand, I understand. Thank you. No problem. So I hope I am making sense. You can just type in the chat box if you are able to connect with me until now. Whatever I'm saying is making some sense to you, or do you relate to me? Thank you. Thank you. So as I was talking about types of memory, usually as a layman, even before entering this field, what I knew was memory was whatever I remember is my memory. If I don't remember, I don't remember. You are telling me that I have a memory of something that I don't even remember. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? You have got to be nuts. But then when I read more books and met more people and then learned and got the degree and practice, and then I came to terms with the simple fact that our basic education system, our academic education system doesn't cover these basic facts, unfortunately. Hence, this. So we have a conscious memory and a subconscious memory. So conscious memory is roughly, it is seen as 8 to 12%. So on an average, it is seen as 10%. And subconscious memory is 90%. So how do we truly understand what is conscious and what is subconscious? So this conscious memory is a short-term working memory. Like what happened yesterday? What did you eat yesterday? How did you cook? factual information, episodic information, one after the another. What was the price of this item? All of this is your conscious mind, which is just less than 10%, less than 12%. And this is what we think as our only memory. But the real game is beneath that surface is the subconscious memory, which is 88 to 92% of your entire memory. And that memory is the memory that governs this upper layer. So it has all the habits that was formed way back in childhood, in the developmental of the brain. All these habits, these emotions, these patterns. So this is a long-term memory. Like when you drive a car, even if you're talking on phone, you're driving the car because your subconscious memory is at play. When you are swimming, even if you do it after 5 years, why do you say you don't forget it? Because it is in your subconscious memory. So that is the subconscious memory that we all experience in our day-to-day life. But unfortunately, very few of us understand. So all of these childhood experiences that we feel we have forgotten, and what has it got to do with us, is all in our subconscious mind and is governing our day-to-day lives. So in your life, if something doesn't make sense, you need to look in your past, in your childhood. That is where your answer is, in your memory. And we are, as children, we are forced to repress these memories and suppress them. When people are asking us to forget about it, even as adults, they are asking us to repress it and suppress it. They are not asking us to process it, because nobody knows how to process an overwhelming experience, to process a death of a loved one, to process a financial loss. We don't know. As a society, we don't know. We simply think ki ho gaya. Now what to do? Now simply forget it and move on. We have to move through it. If it was such an overwhelming experience for you, you have to grieve for it. You have to make sense out of it. And all of this could be a parallel process, but it needs to be done. So, moving on. So, this I spoke to you earlier about attachment and authenticity. What is attachment and what is authenticity? Sound like bombastic words, and yet they're very simple words. So, what is attachment and what is authenticity? Attachment is who we must become to get love and connection from our parents. And authenticity is who we were before the neglect, the pain, the hurt, the abuse. So children growing up goes through a plethora of experiences. Like, you would be surprised that small things like when you are denying an ice cream to the child, but you are having that ice cream, it is a trauma for a child. Although you are doing logically what is right for the child, but the child doesn't get the right and wrong. The logical part of the brain, which is fully developed in an adult, is not developed in the child. So we keep on blaming our children for, you don't get this much also, or you have now grown big. No, they have not. And all of this, when they compromise their authenticity to get approval and validation from their parents, to get love from their parents, is what is called as trauma, is what leads to fragmentation within. This compromised authenticity for attachment. So with this, I want to take a break, and I want to like, any of you, if you have any questions, I want you to ask me.
Sir, I have a question.
Just a moment.
So
Just a moment. I'll just raise your hand. Don't unmute. I'll simply ask. Simply do a raise hand, and I will ask you to speak. So yes, Aparna.
So now, when we talk about memories, many of our if you and you also told that we go back for many years, even the past births, and also to our ancestral level. Can many of our ancestors maybe say, for example, it could be like a Maharshi who had a lot of siddhis, and some of our ancestors could even be great mathematicians. So those memories can also be harnessed. Is that right? Is my understanding right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you see a certain player in a child, like you notice some child who is exceptionally good in maths, or exceptionally good in science, or painting, or drawing, anything. It is coming from that. So you don't even need to harness it. You become more conscious of it and aware of it, and then you choose what you need to continue and what you don't need to take. So the idea is to become aware so that you get the choice and the autopilot mode that governs us. That stops. Otherwise, we are all operating in an autopilot mode. We don't stop and think. We don't slow down time. We are always out of time. And we are just in a rush. So when we pause and observe that whatever is happening with our child or with us, is this making sense? Have I seen it somewhere? If I am unable to control anger towards my child, and even if I don't want to be angry, but I become angry, why is that? Because maybe growing up, that is what the experience I had. What I got is what I can give. I can't give more than that. So I need to reflect upon my childhood. I need to see my inner children, where I am coming from, where is my beliefs, my habits, my experiences come from. Because that is what I will give to my children. And do I really want to give it? And what if there is a choice? What if there is a choice? Aparna ji, request you to mute your mic. What if there is a choice? And it is possible to exercise that choice, that I don't want to pass on my trauma to my children. Why would I want to do that? And if it is possible to revisit my childhood and take out experiences that were so overwhelming for me, there were no tools and people around to process that. If I ask each one of you present here, when you were sad in your childhood, when you were upset in your childhood, whom did you share it with? Just ask yourself this. I'm sure everybody is sad. The problem is not the sadness. The problem is not the hurt. The problem is, did you have anyone to share it with? Were your parents emotionally available for your needs? Did you feel emotionally safe in your childhood to express your emotional vulnerability to your parents? Or were you simply on a race to gain the acceptance, to become the best child, to become that child so that mummy sees me or daddy sees me? Please see me. Yes, Priyanka. Please ask your question.
Yeah, actually, I have two questions. The first question is around conscious and subconscious mind only. As I said, whatever we have experienced in our childhood, the same thing we are passing it to our kids. But whatever, if something bad or something trauma I have faced it, I understand that I should not pass it on, but I mean, unintentionally it is passing it. I don't want, but how I can sort it out this mine, the thing which I have experienced in mine. How can I, because until unless I will not sort it out in myself, I will not be able to sort it out my kid future. So how would I do this?
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking this question. And it's a very important question. And that is what I'm here for. So you are very right that you need to resolve it first in your end, and it is not intentional. So it is not about blaming. It is not about who is the person to blame for. Neither your parents are to blame for, nor you are to blame for. But the impact is still real, right? They knew our parents did the best what they could for us. Yet it was not enough. Yet it is what it is. And now I have the best intentions for my children. But if my ignorance or my unawareness cannot be an excuse, right? My unawareness or my ignorance cannot be an excuse for my child's future. It is too precious. So I have this upcoming workshop which is happening this Saturday, Sunday, which is called Voice of Your Child. So it is specifically designed around helping you connect, identify, listen, and process your inner children so that you can connect to your children outside. Without this, it is, I mean, I would not like to use the word, but it is sincerely impossible to truly be able to connect with your children outside without connecting to your children within. Because we will simply follow the pattern. What we have received is what we can only give. That is only I have as a parent. Unless I revisit it, I look at my wiring, I look at my patterns, and I consciously rewire it. I disidentify from them. I drop those belief systems, those limiting belief systems that are governing my life and will govern my child life if I don't do anything about it. So yes, Priyanka, you have another question. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is related to authenticity and attachment. As you said, like when we say no to to our kid, maybe they don't understand the logic. When you say that you didn't get this thing, some other kid even you get this thing, even some other kid didn't get this thing. But our intention behind is like to give a good values in that, to value what they are getting. So how we identify these things? I mean, how we say that we should not, we should just allow them to do anything, and we do not tell what is right and wrong as per our, like, whatever it is in our life or something.
Right. So again, very good and very important question. And thank you for this, Priyanka. So like I mentioned, the idea is to not protect your child from hurt. You can't stop that. The child will get hurt. The child will ask for 10 things and you won't be able to give 10 things. That is not the idea, to give child whatever he asks for. The idea is to make your child feel safe enough so that they share whatever they did not like. That's it. If I have to tell you this in one simple line, the child needs to feel safe enough to express his authenticity to you. And he knows that he matters. He or she matters. They matter. What happens is, if you look at your life, Priyanka, you will realize that growing up, somewhere this belief system has formed कि अपना क्या, अपना तो ठीक है, इनका सोचते हैं. Whether it's your husband or your child or your parents. So what is this? Because whatever I felt did not matter. है बच्चा है, छोड़ो जाने दो. Growing up, whatever I felt, whatever I wanted did not matter. It was what the adults decided. And hence, growing up, I formed this belief that I don't matter, my opinion doesn't matter, my feelings don't matter. And this is what is self-betrayal. When we betray ourselves. And if we betray ourselves, that is what our children will learn from us. You don't even have to teach them. They will simply observe you. They will simply see how you compromise and they will start compromising themselves as well. And do you want to pass on this legacy?
Definitely not.
But it is still happening. Even if we want it or not, unfortunately, that is what we are doing. When we are betraying our own selves, our own authenticity, our children will betray it.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Just simply raise your hand. Leena, yeah.
Yeah, hi Priyesh. Just continuing with this example that you were giving. One is that kids obviously absorb everything that's happening around them. For example, if we compromise with things that we shouldn't be, the child will pick it up. But I also wanted to take your views on a slightly counter example. So, for example, in my house, I have a 12-year-old daughter. And one of the things she's very vociferous about is I don't want to become a banker because I don't want to be so busy like daddy that I don't have time for anything else. So it's a little counterintuitive to what you were saying. So one is obviously she's absorbing the fact that her father is not necessarily available when she may want him to be around. But instead of probably accepting it that is how life is, she's making it a point to at least remind herself that this is not what I want to be.
So this is what I exactly meant, and thank you for this example. Thank you for this example, and that's why I encourage more of you to ask questions from your personal examples. So when your 12-year-old says that I don't want to be a banker like a daddy because he's busy all the time, so this is where the child's authenticity is coming in. But you will see when the child grows up, there is a tendency, it has been observed. We are not predicting the child's future here, but I am talking because I work with a lot of adults who had this belief system in this childhood that I will not become like my father, and they become exactly that. Because they realize growing up that what they feel, it doesn't matter. They have to belong. They have to belong to the family. They have to accommodate their parents' point of view. They can't have their independent point of views because it's my dad's house. It's my mom's will. They are bigger than me. So I have to listen to them. So this is, and from this, what I am getting is the child is expressing his authenticity that I don't like the fact that my daddy is not available and he's busy all the time. As a parent, that is the message that I take from my child. I leave the future to him, whether he wants to be a banker or an astronaut, or he doesn't want to be anything. I just want to make him capable enough that he can choose freely whatever he want to be. Rather than governing his choices, I want to empower him to make choices. I don't want to make choices for my child. I want to empower him so that whether I'm there or not there, I know that my child is secure in his own being to make free, independent choices from an authentic space rather than from an approval space or a validation seeking space. If I have done that as a parent, I think I have done a good enough job, wonderful job.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Aparna ji. Yes.
Sir, what is your view on a child, like small children, like many times they are attention seeking, they take advantage of the parents or even their grandparents. They cry and ask them to lift or they like keep giving tantrums and get the work done. So the child taking advantage of parents' emotional vulnerability.
And how
you
old is
spoke a
this
lot
child,
about
ma'am?
child's vulnerability. So
Sorry.
most of them like 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, like many of them I've seen.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they like until their task is achieved, they keep crying. And parents are emotionally vulnerable to the child. So it is the other way around.
Yes. So I'll answer. Thank you so much again for asking this question. Wonderful question. So when we say a 3-year-old child, I'm just rephrasing your question. A 3-year-old child is taking advantage of a 30-year-old or 35-year-old adult. Just think about it. So biologically, it is not possible for a 3-year-old human being to take advantage of anything for that matter, because the part of the brain which decides that whether things would be in my favor or not has not been developed yet. So whatever is this is our perception. First of all, this is our perception. Now, when a child is throwing tantrums or crying, it is simply without judgment an indication to the parent. Like, for example, I will simply state biological facts that a child doesn't know how to breathe through lungs. When they are in the mother's womb, they don't have to breathe through their own lungs. There's an umbilical cord, and their mother is breathing, and they are breathing in sync with them. Simply, they're just simply being. So when a child comes out, they have to be taught to breathe from their lungs. And how do they learn that? When there is a physical contact with the parent, and when the parent is breathing through their own lungs, the child's nervous system receives the message from the mother's heart center that it is safe, and this is how you breathe deeply from your lungs and not shallow breaths, simply surviving from your nose. And that is how a child learns. And that is why a child craves physical contact. That is why a child asks to be raised or lifted up in the arms. As a parent, the parent has all the rights to complain because they must be busy and they have a lot of commitments. So it is again not finding out that what needs to be done in this situation. We are simply sharing the impact of what happens when, let's say, if a child is throwing tantrums, or if it is asking to be raised up in the arms again and again. It is simply a sign that child is in need of physical compassion, love. That the first language of love is through touch. Children, they don't have the capacity to understand words. When they're growing up, they don't have the capacity to understand words, because again, the language center of the brain is not developed yet. So the only way they feel love is through touch. When somebody with compassion and with gently lift them up or caress them, that is how energetically they only understand the language of energy. Hence, whatever the mother is feeling, if the mother is in distress, or if there's a distress in the house where the child is growing up, this is a message that the child receives, that it is not safe out here. And this is the message the child's nervous system receives. And they know that they have to make the body stiff, or they have to freeze and go inside their bodies, or they have to simply just escape that situation. So it is not possible for a child to manipulate an adult like a 3-year-old child. They are simply just being. If the adult is mindful and aware, they will know what to do, when to give in to the child and when to hold their ground. I am not asking you to give in to the child all the time. Again, I'm not asking you to give in to the child. It's simply being present for the child. And how are you present for the child? When you are present inside your body first. When you are present inside your body first, when you are aware of your childhood experiences, when you are safe and secure in your own body, that is when you know how to cater to your child, how to be there for your child.
Sir, coming back to the ice cream example. So, if there is a cold or there is a fever, but the child wants ice cream very badly and it is crying, throwing tantrums. So, in this case, should the parent put the foot down and say that no, it will not help you, or like how energetically the parent must connect with the child to refuse the ice cream?
So again, it is so refusing the ice cream. So you can give the ice cream or refuse the ice cream. It is not about just that particular moment. It is about until that moment, how have you made the child feel? Let's say even if you deny this one time and the child is crying, but you make the child understand, you speak to the child, or it is like you have made the child safe enough until now that maybe later on he comes to you and shares that I really wanted to have it and I'm really upset with you. And you're like, yes, I understand. I understand that you are upset, but I am sorry that I had to do this for your safety. And next time we'll figure out a way in which both of us can agree. But the idea is to have this conversation. We simply tend to shun things away as if they are not important, as if they hey, bachcha hai, bhool jayega. He won't remember. But unfortunately, he is the one who will remember everything. Even if he doesn't remember, he will remember it. That's the irony of it. And that is all
like
what
if child is very small, like too small, like who is not unable to have a conversation or unable to express the feelings in a particular way, or for a very small child, how do you handle this ice cream scenario?
so so again, like for a specific scenario, it is not just about that scenario, it is what is leading to that scenario. And you you need to be secure and certain inside your body, and your child will get it. So whatever it is that is inside of you that is not sure, your child will simply hold the mirror for that part. If there is a conflict inside of you, the child will mirror that part. Let's say the father wants the child ki okay khane do, but mother is like no, it's not bad. The child will want it at any cost. It's the inner conflict, it is the inner dilemma, that we think that it is just within us or it is not even aware to us. The child is simply holding mirror to that. So the answer is all within us. It is not outside of us. Only you know what is best for your child. But for that, you need to be present inside your body. You need to be secure and safe inside your body. And you are the best parent your child could ever have. And your child is the best child you could ever have. So come to terms with this simple fact first, and then we start any conversation, that you are the best parent that your child could ever have, and your child is the best child that you could ever have. And when we are in agreement with this, and when we have an open mind, that is when we start to look within to find the answers for the questions outside. And presenting to you again this upcoming workshop, we have very limited seats available. And any of you who are interested in connecting to your child outside and inside, this is the link we have shared in the chat box. Shruti has shared in the chat box. Register for it and come and experience this 2-day experiential workshop specifically designed for all parents to connect to that child so that they can foster a deep and meaningful connection with their children outside. Yes, Shumil ji, you have a question?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, sometimes, the child gets so attached to their parents that they want their parents to be around them all the time. So as a parent, have we overloved or overprotected them that now the child does not feel safe to be in an environment without their parents? Thank you.
I am sorry, just please pardon the question once again. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes, like the child, they get so attached to their parents that they want the parents to be there around them all the time, right? So as a parent, is it like our fault that we have maybe overprotected them, that now the child does not want to do anything without the parent? So how to deal with that? Or is it like, when the child is going to grow up, he's going to be fine? So what should we do?
So when a child is, let's say, being clingy, essentially, when a child is being especially clingy to a parent, what it tells us is the child feels unsafe inside its own body, and its only source and sense of safety is through the parent. And that is again a reflection of the inner state of the parent in question. So the child is not one unit. The child is not an independent unit. The child is an extension of the parents, especially the mother, the heart center of the mother, like I mentioned. It controls the brain and the nervous system development. So everything that the child is feeling or showcasing, they are picking cues from your nervous system, which you may not be conscious of, because again, it is coming deep from your childhood. So you don't even remember it anymore because you don't have the luxury to remember it. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to live your life. But now the child has come and it is giving you another opportunity to reflect back upon your childhood, to reflect upon your being, and to see where you come from and what are the experiences you had growing up, and whether you had someone to share all of this with, or you just simply bottled all of this inside of you, or you had younger siblings and you had to take care of them, or your father was not available and the mother already had so much work. So what? Do we risk our child future for all of that? I understand our parents were amazing people and they did the best they could, but you still are what you are, and you still had those experiences, those unfortunate experiences growing up, and all of this is stored in the body. And this is my attempt, this is my humble attempt and request to all of you parents: if any one of you would like to connect, to truly be able to understand your child, you have to go within and come for this workshop. It is an invitation to all of you. Register for this workshop that's happening this Saturday and Sunday. We have very limited seats. So I'm looking forward to see all of you, as many of you. And if you have any queries, there is a contact number in the link. You have my email ID. You have my WhatsApp number. You have received the link. You can contact me. But we have very limited time and it's happening this Saturday, Sunday. So sign up for it. Priyanka, you have another question?
Yes. Basically, it's a very good session, first of all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the other is like, I know one kid who is around. So, yeah, so what you have, narrated right till now is I can completely relate with that kid. But what we can do with that kid? I understand that he has a lot of anger. He has a lot of low self-esteem, because it is not that I mean, it's not his mistake or not, and I would not say that his parent mistakes, but it's happened. But somehow I can feel with that kid is that is why he is lacking with his social skills. He's not able to connect with the people. He's not able to sometimes express himself, and that's why he become very aggressive also. So how can we and he's quite old now. He's 12-year-old, and you said that it developed between 1 to 15 years. So how can we resolve this kind of things with that kid?
Is this your kid that you're talking about?
No, he is not my kid.
Okay. So like I said, again, the child is simply holding mirror to the inner ecosystem of the parent. So I strongly say that there is nothing wrong with your child. work with your mother. Is the mother and the father ready to look into themselves? Or they want to label their child or go to counselors and psychologists and find out what is wrong with my child? We have to
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
with
yeah.
this mentality. We have to stop with
Because
this mentality and own our issues. And instead of projecting it on our children, we have to own it. We have to own it and not run after psychologists and counselors and trying to seek problems. They won't be able to solve it. They won't be able to solve it because the problem is not in the child. Where is the problem you have to solve there? The child is simply reflecting it. Through the child, if there is a wind blowing outside your house, you can't see the wind. It's when the trees start moving, you are able to see from the window that, okay, whether it's about to rain or the wind is blowing, you can't see the wind, but it's the reflection on the trees that when you know that the wind is blowing, simply that your child is showing some symptoms, it is for you to understand that there is something going within me and my partner, that my child is simply reflecting. The child is that tree who is swaying from the wind that is blowing within you.
yeah, right.
On that note,
Sir, I have one last question, sir, please. I think this question will resonate with everybody here. You mentioned that a child is an extension of the parents. And with this lockdown, every parent is working with their mobile phones and their laptops at home. And even some of the child, they also attend the online classes. So they are becoming too much vulnerable to the machines, and the human relationship is, even if some guest is coming to the home, the child is more attracted to the mobile phone or laptops or gadgets. So the parents are unable to do anything because they have, or they are also in the they are also bound to use the phones because they have to attend their meetings. So they can't, in this case, they are not able to transform themselves or do any corrections within themselves.
so great question, Aparna.
So how does the
Yes, continue. Yeah. So I got your question.
So in this case, we are knowing the pattern that this is a wrong pattern. I am using the mobile phone at home, which is not supposed to be used at home. It has to be used in office, and child is learning from the parents. What can be the solution for this? Please guide us.
So if you see, like you have so beautifully narrated the situation yourself. So let's say the mother and father are both working from home from morning 9 to evening 7, 8, and we have left the child with a gadget of its own. And what we are giving the message to the child essentially is this is the replacement for us. We are not available. And for whatever reason, you have your own valid reasons. You want to create a future for him. You are doing this for your child only. And whatever reason you give it to yourself, I am not questioning that. I am simply stating what will happen. It will happen. It doesn't matter. So the child, what we are giving the subconscious message to the child is this device is a replacement for us. So whatever you want to seek from here, you can seek from here. So all the love, attachment that a child biologically needs growing up. Now, if the child doesn't know growing up that my parents work in an MNC and they won't be available for me, the child's biology doesn't get that, although it is a very practical problem. But I am not here to solve the practical problem. I simply here to share the impact that no matter what, the child is getting this message. And now, when the parent is free or when the guest has show up, now as parents, we expect the child to suddenly now mingle with people. First, we gave them that message that human is not available. Take this device. Now, whenever we want, we feel we will take this device and we'll say, take this human. It doesn't work like that. Your child is not a robot. Come on. So the problem is the expectation of the parent and not the behavior of the child. If you look at it, the problem is the expectation of the parent. So again, now you will start hitting me if I tell you more. So without further ado, I will just sign off from here, and I would request and invite all of you to come join me in this workshop, Voice of Your Child, happening this weekend. And it would truly be fun. It would truly be fun. It's not just bad. It's good. It would really make you feel whole, make you feel more centered and safe within and around. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.